Have you ever put your trust in someone only to have it shatter into a million pieces? Have you ever felt the crushing weight of the world on your shoulders, fighting tooth and nail to protect the one thing that means everything to you, only to discover the person you thought was a friend was actually a wolf in sheep's clothing? If you have, then you know exactly the storm that's about to break over Moira Dingle's head. Tonight, in a heart-stopping twist, the carefully laid plans of Emmerdale's most ruthless puppet masters are about to come crashing down, and the fallout will be absolutely unmissable. For weeks, we've watched Moira Dingle, the fierce matriarch of Butler's farm, struggle to keep her head above water. Butler's isn't just a business to Moira, it's the very soul of her family. It's the land she's worked until her hands were raw, the legacy she's fought to preserve, the place where the memories of her beloved daughter Holly are etched into every field and every stone. The financial pressure has been relentless, a constant nagging threat that has left her vulnerable and desperate. And into this desperation walked Celia Daniels. On the surface, she was a fellow farmer, someone who understood the struggle, a potential ally in a world that seemed determined to chew Moira up and spit her out. Celia arrived with what seemed like a lifeline, a golden opportunity, a multi-million-pound spa hotel deal that promised to solve all of Moira's problems. It felt like a prayer answered. Moira, against her better judgment perhaps, allowed a flicker of hope to ignite in her heart. She invested time, energy, and thousands of pounds she couldn't afford to lose into this dream. But it was all a lie, a cruel, calculated, and devastating lie. We, the viewers, were let in on the sickening secret last week. Celia wasn't a friend. She was a pawn, a willing participant in a venomous game orchestrated by the village's resident villains, Joe and Kim Tate. Their goal: to bleed Moira dry, to break her spirit, and to force her to sell her beloved farm for a pittance. In return for her treachery, Celia was promised an extended rent-free period on her own farmland, a tempting offer for anyone feeling the pinch. It was a deal with the devil, and Celia signed on the dotted line, setting in motion a betrayal that was as cold as it was cruel. But here's the thing about playing with fire, and especially about using people as weapons: sometimes they have a mind of their own. And tonight, the ever-arrogant Joe Tate is about to learn that lesson the hard way. Imagine the scene. Joe, smug and impatient, summons Celia to demand a progress report. He's not asking, he's ordering. He drips with condescension, his words laced with criticism and disdain for her lack of progress. He sees her not as a partner, but as a tool that isn't performing to his exacting standards. He pushes, he prods, he belittles. In his mind, he owns her. But in that moment, something inside Celia snaps. Perhaps it's the sheer unpleasantness of Joe's character, the naked, ugly ambition that she sees reflected in his eyes. Perhaps she looks at him and finally sees the monster she's aligned herself with, or perhaps in a pang of guilt that has been festering deep inside, she finally sees the true human cost of her actions. She sees Moira's face, a woman already grieving and fighting, being systematically destroyed by their deception. Whatever the catalyst, the scales fall from her eyes. The rent-free deal suddenly feels like a pittance in exchange for her soul. This wasn't just business, it was pure, unadulterated cruelty, and she was a key player. The realization hits her like a physical blow. She made a terrible, terrible mistake. And what does she do next? She makes a decision that will send shockwaves through the entire village. With her heart pounding in her chest, Celia turns her back on Joe Tate and heads straight for the one place she should be avoiding: Butler's farm. This is the moment everything changes. Celia, her face a mask of regret and determination, stands before a completely unsuspecting Moira, and she confesses everything. The words tumble out: the secret pact with Joe and Kim, the calculated scheme to ruin her, the fact that the spa hotel deal was nothing more than a ghost, a mirage designed to lure Moira towards financial ruin. For Moira, it's a gut-wrenching, world-tilting revelation. Every piece of the puzzle clicks into place with horrifying clarity. The strange setbacks, the financial drains, the glimmers of hope that were always snatched away, it was all a meticulously planned attack. The thousands of pounds she scraped together and lost, gone for nothing. The trust she cautiously placed in Celia, a joke. The feeling of utter humiliation and rage must be overwhelming. She's been played for a fool by a woman she was beginning to see as a confidant. But then comes the most audacious move of all. After confessing to a con that could have cost Moira everything, Celia doesn't just beg for forgiveness. She makes a proposal. She lays her own desperation bare, explaining the corner she was backed into, not as an excuse, but as a plea for understanding. And then she offers a new deal, a real one this time. She suggests they start again for real, that they join forces, two determined farmers against the world, and fight back against the Tates. She wants to switch sides and become Moira's genuine ally. Can you even imagine the conflict raging inside Moira? To trust the very person who just admitted to methodically trying to destroy you? It seems impossible. Every instinct must be screaming at her to throw Celia off her land and never look back. And yet, there's a strange logic to it. Who knows Joe and Kim's plans better than the person who was on the inside? Could this calculated betrayal be flipped into an unexpected advantage? Could this serpent in her midst actually become her most powerful weapon? Moira is left with an impossible choice, and her decision will set the stage for an explosive new chapter. And what of Joe Tate? He's about to discover that his perfectly controlled pawn has gone rogue. The fury, the indignation, the sheer shock of being outmaneuvered will be a sight to behold. He's not a man who handles defiance well, and his retribution is bound to be swift and severe. This is more than just another episode. This is a turning point, a moral crossroads where betrayal could forge the most unlikely of alliances. Will Moira take the ultimate gamble and trust her own saboteur? Or will she cast Celia out and face the wrath of the Tates alone? Don't miss a single second of the heart-pounding drama. You can find out what happens when the episode airs at the earlier time of 7 p.m. on ITV1 tonight. Or if you simply can't wait, it's streaming right now on ITVX and YouTube. Grab your popcorn, settle in, and prepare for a showdown that will have you on the edge of your seat.